Okay, so let's start with the event. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kriti Agarwal, the host for today's event. So, before starting with the event, let me give you a brief introduction about ACM. So, first of all, ACM is a global community for advancements in science and technology. It organizes various events and activities around the globe, and it has almost 200 student chapters across different nations, and CCET ACM is one of them. Over the years, CCET ACM student chapter has been growing and involving more tech enthusiasts who share their knowledge and experience in their domain with other budding technocrats. So currently, we are working on various domains like research, development, with a focus on web development, competitive programming, as well as designing. So, our overall goal is to envision building a community of like minded people who love to code, collaborate, and have fun in a tech savvy society. So, keeping the same in mind, we have also invited interested speakers to discuss and share their skills in their area of expertise with other individuals and technology associated people. We also have our own social media channels and YouTube links, which will be shared with you in the chat box. You can also watch our previous and current events on the YouTube. So, without further ado, let's start with the today's session. The speakers for today are Gopal Mengi and Deepak Mehto for the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Chandigarh College of Engineering and Technology, Chandigarh. So, let's start. The stage is all yours. All the
So,
rest.
thank you, ma'am, and good afternoon, everybody. So, CCET ASM Student Chapter presents Hour of Code Day 1 Introduction to Computer Science, Programming, and the Basics of Programming using Python as a programming language. So, let's begin. The speakers for today are me, myself, Gopal, Executive Member, CCET ASM Student Chapter, CSC Second Year at CCET, and Deepak Mato, Executive Member as well at CCET ASM Student Chapter. And so the table of content for today is the introduction to computer science. Then we will proceed to introduction to programming. Then the basics of programming using Python as programming language. And then a brief hands-on session where you will be implementing all the things, the basic Python things that we will discuss today. So, introduction to computer science. Computer science, as we all know, is a rapidly growing field that develops essential knowledge and skills for today's world. Computer science also cultivates computational thinking, problem solving skills, creative thinking, and is a foundational learning for all occupations in present day scenario. Computer science is essentially the study of computers and computing, including their theoretical and algorithmic foundations. It also includes the hardware and the software part of the computer and their uses for processing information and data to perform certain tasks. Computer science draws some of its foundations from mathematics and engineering, and therefore the concepts such as discrete structures, statistics, graphs, binary trees, data structures are a really very important part of computer science, and they also help us in the application of algorithms. Next, we will proceed to the introduction to programming. So, what is programming? Programming is basically a process to make programs or instruction sets for a device which is commonly computer so that it can perform certain tasks which it is programmed for. In reality, computers can be called as dumb because it is only the humans which program them to perform certain tasks which make them smart and enhances their performance. For let's take an instance that if your friend is a dumb person and you gave him or her a Lego set to solve, but he or she can only do it with the help of the instruction sets you gave to them. And if anything goes wrong with the instructions, the Lego will not be completed and your friend will be annoyed, and so as you. That same goes with the computers. If anything goes wrong with the instruction set that you provide to the computer, it will throw an error and your task will not be completed. So, programming is a really very important part of computer science and engineering. There are many programming languages, and what is the use? First, we come to the use of programming language. So, just as we communicate in ourselves with the languages like Hindi, English, Punjabi, German, etc., we need a language to communicate with the computer as well. Computer is a machine, so it will not understand all the human based languages. So we have to come up with a common ground So, and we also don't understand the machine level language, that is the binary language, right? So we need to come at a common ground, that the a certain language that is understand by both humans as well as computers. So programming language solve that purpose. It is a programming language in which we pass on the instructions, and then it has certain compilers or interpreters which convert that instruction set to a machine level language, and then it is processed by the computer to give the output and perform that tasks. There are many popular programming languages, but to list a few, we have listed the few like Python, which is used extensively in web development, basically in web backend development, softwares, task automation, data analysis, and data visualization. Then is JavaScript used for web development and mobile app development. Then is there Java used extensively in the Android operating system. C++, which is the basis of the computer science engineering and the language behind everything from computer games to mathematical simulation, operating system. The Linux is in fact coded in C language, which also relates it to C++. Then there are some few languages like Go, Swift, PHP, R, Kotlin, Dart, Flutter, etc. Which, but we will today discuss Python and why. So Python, why we chose Python as a programming language. Python is one of the most popular programming languages for a beginner and as well as for a advanced developer, because it is easy to learn and use, has hundreds of Python libraries and frameworks, making it a multi-purpose language. And in my opinion, the beginner, it has a really familiar syntax for a beginner to learn. And also in every verse of computer science, maybe it be web development, the backend development, data analysis, artificial intelligence, data visualization, or machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, everything in today's world is being coded in Python. So that's why we have chosen Python to learn today. And now let's begin the coding part, the fun part. So let me go to this online compiler. I am using this tutorials point online compiler. The link will be shared in the chat box by Deepak. So I'm sure that he has shared the link.
Yes, it is already shared.
Okay, so let us continue. Then we will print our first Hello World program, and the out. This is an online compiler. I can also set up. We have shared a video link. You can also set up that Python in your local host or local PC. If anybody has some doubt, you can ask me in person. I have shared my contact details also. But for the time being, we are using the online compiler so that if anybody has not installed the Python, he or she can also learn it. So let us begin with the first program. So let me write hello world, right? So this is a basic hello world program where if I run it, it will output me this hello world. And this is a basic print statement in Python. As you can see, I've written print hello world, then parenthesis, and in double quotes I have written hello world, but also you can write it in single quotes as well. The Python gives us this flexibility that we can write use double quotes either or single quotes. So this is the basic hello world program in Python, and just one print statement. And if I may compare that in C or C++, we have to write 6 to 7 lines of code, then I will able to print hello world. So Python gives me that flexibility that I only write one line and it is visible there. So this was a pretty easy task. I hope everybody has coded it. If not, we can wait for a minute or so. If anybody has doubt, he or she can unmute the mic and ask it, or you can type in the chat box. Then we will move forward to variable declaration. In this part, we will learn that how to create variables. In Python, a variable is created when a value is assigned to it. We will also be learning to how to cast a variable. Casting means that changing the data type of the variable. And also there are two types of variables, which is the global and the local. I will be discussing that further. And here in this picture, as you can see, there are some data types mentioned. First is the text type, which is the string. Then the numeric are the integer, float, that is basically the decimal type, and complex, which takes the complex numbers. and sequence types, which are the list, tuple, range. There are basically a continuous set of memory. A sequence type, which contains the single data structure. Data type, which can be either integer, float, complex number. There can be list of list also. And further, you will learn that any data type can be made into the list. And then is the mapping type, which is the dictionary. Here, a value is mapped with another value, so one is the key and other is the value. We will be discussing the list, integer, float, and string today, as it is a basic introductory session to Python. We will not go in intense detail of other data types. So let me go to the coding part and let me just comment. So if you are wondering what is this, if you put a hashtag in front of any statement in Python, the compiler doesn't recognize it, and this is called as a comment in the programming language. Every language has its style of commenting. In C++, it is double forward slash. In Python, it is a hashtag. So that is the comment. Let me comment that at the variable declaration in Python. So let me declare some few variables like x be 5, y be for example John, and z is 43.32. So I have declared three variables here. The first one is the integer variable, right? As you can see, I am commenting. Comments are basically used for extensive coding where there are many developers working together. So when you have to recognize what this code block stands for, we write the comment that this is an integer or this is a float type, or this code, the block of code works for this purpose. And this is a string type variable, and this is a float type float type variable. And let me just print it with a print statement like x, and print that is y, and print that is z. Let me just run it. You can execute it by running this. As you can see, the output is there, 5 John and 43.32. I have printed. That is, this is how you can declare variables and print the statement. In Python, there is no need to specify the data type. It already recognizes the data type of the variable. But in other languages, you have to mention. So this is also a flexibility that Python gives us. And also, if you want to print the type, that what type is the data type, so I can use a type function here and print the type of the data type. And if I execute it, it will come like this, that the type is integer, or the y, as I mentioned, that is John, that is a string, and the float, that is 43.32, right? So as you can see, the type is also right. The string indeed cannot only be a name, it can be a sentence or any character, or you can also write numbers into that. But if anything is in double quotes, it will be created as a string only. So that is the thing. And if I want to cast something, like if I declare a variable like z integer, right, and int z, so I have casted the integer variable, casted the float type into integer type variable, right? And this will take this will take only the integer part of the z, that is 43. So if I print now z int and I execute it, it will become out to be 43, right? Also, I can convert this to a string zstr to str, then z. And if I print z str, then I execute it, it will become out to be 43.2. And but this is a string, this is not a float type, this is now a string type. And also Python gave us a flexibility when I have to concatenate. Concatenate means that when I have to join some two strings, I can use it like this. Then I can use the plus operator, and then if I execute, then it will come John 43.2, right? So These are some variable declaration, and we have also seen that how to cast an variable type into another type. So this is the thing for variables. Let me just comment it out, and now let's move on to another part, which is the if, else, and elif statements. In this part, we will cover the if, elif, and else conditional statements, and also I will be talking about the indentation in Python, the shorthand if, shorthand if else, and nested if else statements. As you can see in the picture, these are some conditional statements and with their operators, which can be used to compare the variables. First is the equals to, and then is the not equal to. So, and when we have to compare two variables, for example, here it is given a b, and if I have to compare the a b variables, that whether they are equal or not equal, we will use the if statement, and inside the if statement I will be writing that if they are equal or not, then is the less than equal to, greater than, or greater than equal to statements. So if I make code it, right, if I code, then if, else, and elif statements, right? Let me declare some variables like a is 300, b is 21, c is 320, for example. And then if I have to compare that, which one is the greater of a and b, so I will write this if statement, that a is greater than, if a is greater than b, then a colon here, and then if you may see that there is an ident. This is called an ident in Python. This is the most important part in Python syntax, because this represents that we have entered inside the if statement, and what if that everything we will writing in with this ident, this will come out to be inside the if statement only. So if I write this print a is greater than b, right? So if I execute it now, that a is 300 and b is 21, we can see that a is greater than b, so it should be executed, and it is right there that a is greater than b. Or else if for instance, that if b is greater, we will write an else statement here, that if a is not greater than b, then obviously b will be greater. So if I then execute, it is not showing an error, but it is a is greater, because 300 is greater than 21, so it will execute the if statement only. This is called as the if else statement. And for example, if I want to determine the greatest of three numbers, right? Greatest of three numbers. So I will be writing if a is greater than b, right? So it will enter the if statement here. And now if I now I also have to check that if a is greater than b, then a should also be greater than c to be the greatest number. Then I will print that a is greatest of them all, right? Greatest of all numbers. And if I have to write that, else if, now this is the elif statement. Elif statement means the else if, the short form of else if. The Python in the Python syntax, we write the else if statement if you want to check another condition. If c is greater than a, we will write that print c is greatest of all, because if a is greater than b and c is greater than a, so obviously that c will be greatest of all. So if I now execute it by commenting this out, if I execute it now, then you will see the output of c is the greatest of all, because c is 320 and it is the greatest. Firstly, it will check that 300 is greater than 21, then it will enter the if statement, then it will come to know that a is not greater than c, but c is greater than a, so it will execute this elif statement here. That is about the elif and statement. Now the shorthand notation, shorthand. And also one more thing, that this if inside if is called a nested if statement, and you can also write this if inside the else statement, is else statement also. And you can do experiments, and this is called basically the nested if else statements. And for example, if I have to write this only in one line, right, if a is greater than b, then I want to print a is greater than b, right? Let me just comment this out. If a, then you will be seeing that a is greater than b is 21, obviously. So this will be come out as output, and in one line only. Shorthand basically means to improve the readability of the code, so it does not take many lines. If also I can write here, if I will use the else statement also, then I have to write that if a is greater than b, or else I have to write else print b is greater than a, right? So if I execute this, let me just comment this out. This is the if else statement in the shorthand notation. Invalid oh my bad. I can write this as well. Oh, this. What is there? Might as well in this compiler it is not coming. But this is the basic syntax, as you can see that if you have to write in other compilers it might be working, but in this it is not. So you can write this. This is basically the if else statement and the shorthand notation also. Next, we will move on to the loops. Loop is a set of instructions and is a very important part of programming. Where in loops, the statement is repeated repeatedly until a given condition is met. Python has primitively two loops, which is the while loop and the for loop. And in the while loop, that is basically used when we have to execute the statement as long as the condition is true. But in the for loop, is majorly used when we have to iterate over a sequence of data type that might be a list, a tuple, dictionary, a set, or a string. Here you can see in this picture that when we start the loop, first it will check the condition, and if the condition is true, then it will execute the statement, and then again repeat the loop, and if it is false, it will exit the loop and the program will be terminated. So let me just code here. Let me just code and loops, which is the while loop. First, we will be discussing about the while loop. Let me just declare some variables. C is equal to 0 and C, for example, is 3, right? And if I have to print all the values while A is less than 6, we will be printing the all the values till 6. So print A, right? I can also put that in a bracket also or not. So this also flexibility that Python gives us, right? If I execute, it is taking a bit of a time because of the online compiler, but as you can see that it will print all the values of a, but here you can see that it will be going in an infinite loop because we have assigned the value of a as 1, right? So if I will not change or increment the value of a, it will be going in an infinite loop. So I have to mention that a equal to a plus 1. This is a statement that will increment the value of a by 1 so as to break the loop, or else the, as you can see that it is revolving and revolve, मतलब buffer हो रहा है बहुत ज़्यादा क्योंकि if else में ये उसमें चला जाएगा. So if I execute, as you can see, अब we have be printing the 1 2 3 4 and 5 because a is initialized by 5. So if I not write this statement, it will go in an infinite loop till the computer's memory is reached. Okay, okay. So that is the reason that also we can write it as in a short form, that is plus 1, but for the basics we will be using this only, this statement only. And for the other variables also, if I write that while b is less than 6, I can show you another notation of this, that is b plus equal to 1. This is also a statement for incrementing the value of b. what it will do, so firstly it will check that b is less than b's value is 0, so 0 is less than 6, then it will print b, and then it will increment the value of 0 by 1, that is 1, then it will check 1, which is also less than 6, and this it will be doing till 5. Then when the 5's value is incremented to 6, then 6 is not less than 6, it is equal to 6 but not less than 6, so it will not print that value. As here you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, because it is initialized from 0. So this is about while loops. And now for the for loops, right? For the for loop, I have to discuss one more data type, that is the list data type. List is basically a sequence of numbers, or any list. I have created a number sequence that is consists of some numbers, that is 1, 23, 43, 21, 56, and 78. And for loops are essentially used to iterate over a data type. For in this case, I will be using the list data type, and I will be printing the value of I. And here you can see I have no need to increment the value of I, the position of I, it automatically does in Python, but in other languages you have to specify a pre or post increment operator. And when I execute, as you can see, the list is printed, that is 1, 23, 43, 21, 56, and 78. Also, one more method in which for can be used is the range based loops. The range based loops, where if I have to print the values ranging from 0 till 7 minus 1, that is 6, because it runs till n minus 1, n minus 1th position. So if I now print the value, this is by default the i's value is taken to be 0, and also the position in the list, that is the one's position is 0, that is the indexing of the position, that is the one's index is 0, 23, 1, starting from 0 till ranging from n minus 1. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that is the index, that is the position essentially of the list. And here you can see the output is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is pretty much basics for the for loop. Now we will move forward to the functions. Now, function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. We can pass them data known as arguments into a function, and the function also can return as a data or data type, that is, it can return as an integer or a float type variable or a float type value with a return statement. And also in Python, there is no compulsion to mention the data type of the function, that is whether it is an integer or a float type function or a bool type function. So we simply define the function, right? So functions, that is, if I may comment this out, and here also we will be discussing about the local and the global variables. So let me define some variables, that is x is 300 and y is 321, for example, right? And if I define a function, that what is a function, we define a function by using this syntax, that is def function and colon, and here you can see an ident as well, that means that we have entered inside the function, and whatever I write inside the function, for example, this is a function, I have printing this, that this is a function. And now it is very important that we have to call the function as well. This is a call statement of the function. This we have been defining the function, right? And this we have called a function. So if I execute this will be giving me an output that this is a function, right? And now the argumented functions, like for example, if I am defining a function add, that will add both the values. For example, I take a and b here, and this is a return statement that will return me, this is a return statement which will return the addition of a and b, right? This is a return statement which will return me the value of a. And if I call this function and input the values and pass the parameter, these when which the values we pass to the function are called as parameters, and the values it take are called as arguments. So I'm passing the values as x and y. And if I print the addition of this function, I can also comment this out because this is not necessary, because I've called also here only and printed the answer, and it will come out to be 621. That is the answer, right? It will come out to be 621. And also one more thing, that these I am earlier discussed that these are the global variables. And if I define a function, for example, and I write the values of x is equal to 222 and y is equal to 432, right? And if I print this is inside a function comma a comma b, I am printing the values of a and b inside the function, right? And now I am printing this is outside the function. I am printing the values a comma x comma y, my bad, that will be x comma y, because the variables are x and y, x comma y. And if I now execute, let me just comment this out. And if I now execute this, this is a function, this is outside the function, that is 300. Oh, let me just call it also. Yes, that this is an inside the function, that is a 22 and 32. These are called the local local variables, and these are the global variables. The global variables is when you call anytime when you call the values of these variables outside the function, it will be printing the global variable value. And when you have inserted it inside the function, it will be printing the local variable value. So here you can see this is an inside the function, there is a local variable value, and this is the global variable value. So this was pretty much for the basics, and now we will move on to the hands-on session, which will be conducting by Deepak. And here you will code a simple calculator with four arithmetic operations using all the things we have discussed today. So over to Deepak now.
Uh, Now I will take on for the hands-on session. So let me share the screen first. Mm. I will similarly use an online IDE, which is Programmers IDE. So in this session, I will be using basic Python, which we have discussed earlier in the PPT and taught by Gopal. And here I will be basically using the things which we have uh, read earlier, like functions, if else, elif statements, variable declarations, and loop. And also we will be using lots of comments. So we will be basically using making a simple calculator, and it will have four basic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And for these four operations, we will be making four different functions. And so let's start with the coding. So to start with the code, first we will be making an interface. So an interface. And for making interface, we will be basically using print function. Print function basically print what is written inside this uh, double quotes. So I will be typing operations, and I will be giving these four operations number, so we can use further. So first is addition, and second is subtraction. Similarly for third, multiplication, and fourth is division. Uh, as you have seen, we have used single quote or double quote. It doesn't make any difference to use single or double quote in Python. So let me show the output here. As you can see, it has printed operation. One is addition, second subtraction, three multiplication, four division. So using print, I have basically printed the interface. So now first we have first we make the four function for these four operations. So first for addition. As previously shown by Gopal, you have seen that he declared a function name add. So we will similarly declare a function add, and it will have two parameters, x and y. So what is this parameter? This parameter basically is that when we call the function further, it will take two arguments, and this argument will run in this function, and uh, it will put it in this place and run in this function, like I will here return x plus y. So if I call this function further and pass two numbers, so it will return x plus y. Similarly, for subtraction, I will also define a function, and it will name as sub. So it will also have two parameters x and y, similarly like addition, and it will return us difference between two. So it will return second number minus first number minus second number. So when we call the function, we have to pass by checking which we have to subtract, checking the numbers we have to subtract. Similarly, for multiplication, we will define a function named mul, and it will have two parameters x and y, and it will similarly return us the multiplication of these two numbers, x into y. As you can see, this star is for multiplication. It is an operator, and for division. So division, we will define a function name div, and it will have two parameters x and y, and similarly it will return the division of these two numbers. So for division, we have a slash operator. This slash will divide x, it will divide x by y. So now we have basically created two functions for these operations. First for addition, second for subtraction, third for multiplication, and fourth for division. And this is interface. So now we will be creating a code for calling these functions and doing our operation of calculator. So now first I will create a infinite loop. Why I have created this infinite loop? Because I have to for calculator to run until and unless I have given a command to break out from the until and unless I have given command to exit the program or close the application. So for making the infinite loop, I have used here while true. You can similarly use any other thing, but this true is bool operator. So it basically means until and unless it remains true, it will continue on loop, and basically it represents a infinite loop. So in this infinite loop, I start with making a variable choice, and it will input us the choice like 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in this input, I will simply ask what is choice operation choice, and it will show the option which we can input 1, 2, 3, and 4. What we have typed inside is just similarly to it print. It will just print statement. It has no other work here, and if and if we call if choice in, here we declare a list of four numbers which we can access 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So for this if statement, it will basically check that whether our chosen input is true or is correct and or wrong. So here I will simply demonstrate by printing correct option and use an else statement to print if if we input other option like 5 or 6 other than these four, then it will print this statement. Like here I will type invalid output, invalid input. So basically if I run here and it will first print the interface which we have shown earlier, and then this infinite loop. In this infinite loop, it is asking for the choice. So I have to give a choice. Like if I give the choice 5, I have to try this and this thing. So we will try for first 1. 1. So it has shown correct option because it has the 1 is in the list, and if we choose a number which is in not in the list, it will show invalid output like 5. It will show invalid output. So now we have basically may make a simple interface. Now we will be calling these four functions for the operations of the calculator. So I've commented this out. We have no use for this. So now we have taken the input of the operation we have to make. Now we have to uh, declare variables for the numbers for on which we have to do operations. So now we will declare two numbers. Like first number is num1, and since we have used this function and here we have used plus operator, so if we don't define the data type here, it will automatically take a different type or may result in error. Like if it takes string variable, it can concatenate two string here. So we will automatically define the input as float here and input, and here I will type number 1 here. Similarly for number 2, I will take input float and input, and here I will type number 2. So here it will take these two variables will take number. Num1 will take for number 1 and num2 will take for number 2. So when we enter this loop after entering correct choice 1, 2, 3, 4, this will ask for the number. Like and if I run this, and here type 1, it is correct option, so it will ask for the numbers. Like I will type 2.3 and 4.5. So similarly it will ask for number, and we haven't done any operation here, so no result shown here. Like if I call here our addition function, if I call here our addition function here, so add, and we will pass these two number into this function to add the numbers. So num2, right? So here 1 and 2.4 and 3.4. So basically it has printed the addition, right? So we have to make a calculator which on the operation number will do similar command. Here I do what if I type 2, it will similarly show add, and it will do only one operation add. So I have to use if elif statement to make to run the commands corresponding to the numbers. So here I will simply using if and the choice which we have taken earlier to match with 1. As we know, to 1 it is addition, so we will calling here add function. So num1 and addition num2 equal to. Here I will be calling this add function. Similarly, I have called earlier like add and passing the numbers num1 and num2. And if I run now for 2, it will not be running for addition now. So this will basically for one function, and similarly for next 3, I will be using elif, right? So Using choice to check, I will put 2 and it will print num1 minus num2 equal to. So here I will be calling this function subtract, which we have to pass two numbers, in which second number will be subtracted from first number. So you have to see which we have to run here. You can similarly pass num2 and num1 respectively. It's your decision here. So I will be passing num1 and num2. So for multiplication, here I will be giving choice 3. So print and num1 into num2 equal to. Here I will be calling mul function because mul correspond to multiplication. So we will be passing the arguments as num1 and num2. So it will multiply num1 and num2 here. Similarly, elif choice equal to 4. It's for 4 it will be division. So we will be printing here num1 divide by num2 equal to give num1 and num2. Here we also have choice to put arguments in your order. As I put it num1 comma num2, so num1 will be divided by num2. Similarly, if I put num2 first and num1 second, then it will divide num2 by num1. It's your choice which we have to put here. And now as you can see, we have basically completed the interface for all the 4 functions. But as we have used infinite loop here, so we have also used we also have to leave a code for exiting this infinite loop, or else the function will run again and again without exiting the code. So basically I will be here defining I will be using break statement here to exit the infinite loop. So I will declare a variable name exit loop, and it will basically taking the input in which we ask for whether to exit or not, and you can give answer in yes and no format here. So in brackets I will simply put yes and no, and this variable will take input as yes or no, and then I will use an if statement to check whether user has put yes or no. So using if, I will check exit loop equal to yes or no. So for exiting it will be yes, and for not exiting it will be no. So as we have to use break statement here, so we will be matching with exiting statement, which is yes. So I will type yes here and break. Now if in exit loop you have typed yes, then if statement check whether it is yes or no. If it is yes, it will simply break away from this infinite loop, and if it no, then it will simply restart this loop from the start here. Choice operation choice, and as you can see, we have basically completed here. Let me put some comments here for understanding the code here. So I will explain the code once more now from the start. So we have made a basic interface here, which takes asks for operation we have to do. First is addition, second is subtraction, third is multiplication, fourth is division. Now we have made a infinite loop. In this infinite loop, first we have declared a variable name choice, which asks for the operation we have to do from these 4. and similar and corresponding to these operations, these are number we have to input here. And now using if statement, it will check whether the input is valid or not. If it is valid, if it is 1 2 3 and 4, it is valid, so it will enter this if loop. And if it is invalid, it will enter this else loop and print invalid input and restart the loop. Now after entering this if statement, it will ask for two numbers, number 1 and number 2, and these two numbers are float data type, right? Now after taking the input for these two numbers, I have used if elif statement to check corresponding operations. For one it is addition, for two it is subtraction, for three it is multiplication, for four it is division. And for doing these operations, I have used these four functions. So if I run it, and this is for breaking the infinite loop. So if I run it here, it will ask for operation choice. Like I do addition here. Now it will ask for numbers 3.4 and 5.6. So it will show the addition of these two numbers here and ask for whether to exit or not. So if I don't want to exit, I simply write no. And it will restart this loop from the start where it has asked for choice. So if I do subtraction now, I do subtraction now 3.4 and 1.2. So it will show the result here, and as I will show a subtraction and 2.3 and 4.5. It also, if you have inputted second number greater than first number, it will also show negative result here. Now if you write here yes, it has shown some error, basically indentation error. 2.4, 3.4. Yes. As you have seen previously some error has occurred. It was due to the indentation problem here. In Python language, you have always have to care for indentation, or else the program will show some error, obviously. And this is all for the hands-on session. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something fruitful from this session. So thank you everyone for the session.